You could smell the smoke from the fire of the Forrestal and the wind across the bow of the Intrepid. I remember it well. We were underway to Liberty in Hong Kong. It was late July 1967. It seemed to have been a long line period. Our planes had made daily bombing runs over Vietnam. We had taken wounded in from the Forrestal fire on board for injuries, but it made us late for one of our favorite Liberty ports. And now they're saying we may have to take up some of the slack due to the Forrestal having to go to the yards for repairs. The men with scrambled eggs on their hats were making those decisions. Lowly sailors like me and my shipmates don't figure in that kind of decision making.
Soon morale was lower than whale crap in the bottom of the sea. Somebody, I think it was Felix, got a letter from his younger brother about a movie he had seen. This was the year that a petty criminal became the hero of a Florida prison camp in the blockbuster movie Cool Hand Luke. The actor who played the hero is Paul Newman. One of the feats Newman performed in that movie was eating a whole bunch of boiled eggs. There was one electronics technician, a second class, a big farm boy from Wisconsin said he could do that. He was rather uncoordinated and seemed to stumble over his own feet. We called him Club, but he was a favorite of everyone and a very good technician on high-frequency radio communication equipment.
Word spread about the aircraft carrier quickly about the upcoming event. Scuttlebutt is like that. It was surprising that the ship's cooks had over 4 dozen eggs available. Some sailors were talking about printing commemorative T-shirts, but the print shop couldn't work the details out.
Weinberg was getting ready for an egg pool. He had done anchor pools before. I mean, this would be a little bit different. You simply bet on the number of eggs you thought the club would eat, rather than betting on exactly the minute the ship would drop anchor. That's the way an egg pool would work. And Weinberg, he was working on it.
Weinberg had found an old chalkboard and made a grid of 35 squares on it, lettered with numbers 20 through 55. Each bet was only $1. You simply gave the supply room clerk $1 and he would write your name beside the number of eggs you thought the club would eat. If you guessed the number eaten by the club, you would win the pot. Sailors throughout the ship were talking about the upcoming event and placing bets. Of course, it was illegal, but the guys with the scrambled eggs on their hats kind of looked the other way. It was such a boost for morale. Nobody was bitching about additional days on the line. There were a few hardcore types that would not wager, but Father Frank, the ship's senior chaplain from South Boston, gave the event his blessings. By the way, that was not South Boston, Virginia, but the other one in Massachusetts. In our division, we even got Frodo to make a wager. Frodo was this diminutive division yeoman, a very timid fellow from the land of the Green Giant in Minnesota.
Weinberg had his egg pool going. We were getting a lot of excitement throughout the ship. Little posters were showing up. Everybody was ready. It decided that the contest would be held on Rope Yarn Sunday. We had a nice quiet time about ship, and we'd have it during the evening movie. We had over closed circuit television. All the guys in the shop, we all gathered together. That night, it was an Italian Western. Well, in this Italian Western, we were going to have some interesting cutaways to our friend Club eating eggs. Below decks, over 4 dozen eggs were being peeled, getting ready for the great event. Well, after shower, we'd all settled into the ET shop, got a fresh pot of coffee and popped some popcorn, and we were ready for the movie. Sure enough, it was an Italian Western, kicked it off straight away. The boys in the WINT television said that every now and then they'd interrupt the movie to give us an update on what the club was doing while he was eating his eggs. And so they did. Well, not exactly. They started putting a little counter down in the corner of the screen so we could see what was going on. Of course, we wanted to see him eat one, but that never did happen. Every time they tried to do that, we'd get this message that said network trouble. So we had to be content with just watching the number change. That was a long movie. Of course, there was a certain amount of swearing and carrying on ever since every now and then he'd pass the number that somebody had bet on, and they knew they had lost their money. Well, it was finally over about the time the movie was over when Club 8, number 47, we had us a winner. In the movie, Paul Newman had eaten 50 boiled eggs. Well, not Paul Newman, the character had eaten 50 boiled eggs. Paul Newman had actually only eaten 4, but movie magic made it look like 50. Now, Club beat that record some 30 years later in a competition he had promoting Navy Relief, a charity benefit. Yeah, he ate over 50 boiled eggs at one time. And who won the egg pool? None other than Frodo. You wouldn't believe how happy the little fellow was. Soon we were sailing for home, and we and the Electronics Division gang had a lot of good memories about the egg eating contest.